Boy, I really hope when it comes to the end of the year and we're talking about the best games, this one isn't forgotten because it wasn't under a kick. Like 14 points was the margin, but my God, this was awesome. And I don't actually think anyone could sum it up better than Sarah Jones as she was introducing the rest of the panel to kick off the post-game Fox footy coverage when she looked at Jason Dunstall and said, "That was fun." Yeah, it bloody was. So let's talk about Bailey Smith versus the Dogs and the Cats getting over the line at Cardinia Park. So my first thought is actually, I'm glad there is more to talk about than Bailey Smith, who was awesome, by the way, but he wasn't the only reason to watch as this magnificent game unfolded in front of us. It was Ed Richards coming into the fore. It was Matt Kennedy being dominant. It was Marcus Bontempelli finally deciding to play a game of footy after a first half that was not great. It was a game of missed chances. It was a game of taken chances. It was a game of accurate kicking. It was a game of inaccurate kicking. It was a game of hitting the post. All of these kind of inner stories just ended up becoming one of the all-time great home and away games. And that, I think, is more pleasing than the entire evening becoming just about Baz, as much as he's in the title and thumbnail of the video. So that's my first thought. Let's talk about the winners. I mean this in the nicest possible way, but it is genuinely annoying just how many good decisions Geelong players make. And it doesn't matter who it is. And I'm not saying these players are directly on the end of the spectrum, but whether it's, say, like a Sean Manor when he's gone through 15 minutes of nothing, or whether it's Jeremy Cameron in every one-on-one he's seemingly in, whatever you think the right choice is, Geelong just do it the majority of the time. And one of the reasons why a team like GWS have done so well at GMHBA Stadium, outside of course, playing the conditions really well, is that sometimes when someone or a team just makes really good decisions, so does the other team. And that's fine. But as soon as the Bulldogs went through few mistakes back-to-back, consecutively, of course, that's where Geelong pounced. It just seemed like every time the footy world said to the Dogs, bury them, and they didn't, Geelong picked up the shovel and buried them back. And that is why they are so dangerous. And considering the ramifications of this game, the Cats are now above the Dogs on the ladder and, of course, will be until next weekend. This is pretty huge heading into the bye. The Dogs now have only beaten one team in the top 8, and they currently have a point differential of around about 8 goals between teams in the top 6. Whilst I'm still a believer in the way they play, they're not the finished product yet, and yes, they had players out, but so did the Cats. I think the Geelong fans are going to come away from this feeling awesome. I love the fact that they were able to celebrate Mitch Duncan, who is one of the all-time great Geelong blokes, an absolutely brilliant player, of course, the sub in that 2011 grand final, and a player who has always been relied upon to make good decisions. We got to welcome Tom Stewart back, which was nice. I think I just said we in terms of footy fans rather than Geelong. I'm not a Geelong supporter. And then we were able to get Shannon Neal's breakout, which of course was awesome as well, kicking 5 straight. A little bit of a whipping boy for Geelong fans I've noticed on social media, so a nice little middle finger to those that were starting to doubt him. As Duncan said in the post-match interview with Cam Mooney, that Tom Hawkins was 25-26 and Cats fans were turning on him before he turned it around. So let's give the young man a chance. I loved what I saw. That accuracy was great. Brian Myers was again outstanding. And the Cats come away from this game with, I think, 6 more scoring shots, or 6 less scoring shots, I should say, with, of course, a plus 14-point win, which was extraordinary. And the footy IQ of this football club is just about the highest in the comp. And Chris Scott's got to get a lot of credit for that as well. Congrats to the Cats. Let's talk about the Dogs. So with a game this good, being critical in any kind of way kind of does feel a little bit dickish. So I'm going to try and keep the negative points to a minimum. But poor Jimmy O'Donnell had an absolute nightmare. James Harms had a genuine nightmare. Tim English was borderline invisible, and arguably the worst thing that he did was that down the field free kick. Whether you thought the initial hold on the man was there or not, it was one of those, it's probably there, but unlucky because he doesn't see the ball come out. on blitzers, I think it was. So, but the down the field was just inexcusable, just letting the anger get to you. There were a couple of defensive 50 stoppages where he wasn't the ruckman and it wasn't as if he was on the bench, and he got beaten by Reece Stanley. Again, I'm not trying to discredit Reece Stanley at all. He is a premiership ruckman after all, and very much a placeholder of the ruck contingency in the AFL. But Tim English was an All-Australian 18 months ago. So just to make that clear, or 20 months ago, whatever it was. Like, the fall-off should not be this bad. He won one hit-out count last year, English did, and his impact around the ground is at this point. It's not justifying the way that teams are able to score from clearance or at least generate ball inside 50 from clearance. They gave up 51 points on turnover in the first half. I think the number in the end ended up being somewhere close to 80, which is just extraordinary when you think about it that way. Bailey Williams was non-existent, and I don't think anyone butchered more 50 chances than Lachie McNeil. So for those boys and kind of the back bottom 6 to 8 on the Bulldogs 24, is still going to be a problem if they want to try and upset the better teams. But the good news is they probably haven't peaked yet. And of course, with the aforementioned injuries, although if you're a believer in the Dogs, and I still think that I am, then you're hoping that these kind of performances lead to greener pastures down the road. Now, in terms of what we want to, or who we want to give credit to, Matt Kennedy is the one that comes to mind in a massive way. Kick 3 at over 20 touches. And I tell you, at the end of the season, a team like Carlton, I think, should definitely have a look at him. Yes, that is tongue-in-cheek. I'm scared the internet doesn't understand sarcasm. But he was awesome. He was fantastic throughout the entirety of the evening. Why, in the ever-loving God, Rory Lobb wasn't on Jeremy Cameron all night? Now, yes, there were periods where Lobb was matched up on Jezza. And yes, there were moments where Jezza scored on him. I'm not denying that for a moment. But Lobb's ability to make a decision on whether to stay with back shoulder Jezza or attack the footy, more often than not in that second half, worked out beautifully. And whilst, yes, Oisin Mullen did a really good job on Ed Richards, it maybe took a little bit too long for the rest of the midfield to wake up. But in terms of who we want to give some credit to, I thought Oscar Baker had some really nice moments in this game. Riley West is a genuine freak, and All-Australian squad talks should absolutely be happening around this guy. In all honesty, if they were playing two small forwards, you're looking at a Jack Higgins as one, and then it's probably between Ben Long, Paul Curtis, and Riley West if you really wanted to do it properly. Now, whether they want to do it properly is a whole other question that will probably never be answered. But alas, there we are. So much went wrong for the Doggies in terms of their ability to execute forward of centre, and it did seem like they tried to do everything the hard way. It was kind of like instead of trying to pick up some shopping bags and take them inside, they took all the groceries in one at a time. Not bag, item. That's how hard they made it, and they almost pulled it off, which is a massive credit to them. So I hope that wasn't too critical. I think the Bulldogs still deserve a tick for this performance because they were able to play that well with as many things going wrong as it did. I think they hit the post 4 times as well. So all in all, for the neutrals, we feel hopefully extremely lucky to have witnessed this game. So it's almost like a massive thank you to Geelong and the Bulldogs for letting this happen. And if that has set the scene for round 11, hell yeah. Fingers crossed that the other games, at least some of them, live up to a little bit, maybe 60, 70, 80% of what this game did. Fingers crossed. Congratulations to Mitch Duncan on winning in his 300th game. Congratulations to the Cats for getting over the line. Commiseration, Bulldogs fans, but I hope you're still able to get some positives out of this. And you can stick around for more Daz Talks footy content. Tomorrow's game, of course, Dreamtime at the G. I'll be reacting to that couple of hours after the bounce is usually when I can get these videos up, because it's one-man band over here, guys. And then, of course, you got your Hawthorn React on Saturday, the Saturday session on Sunday morning, and then the Sunday Spotlight on Sunday evening. So I hope that's enough Daz in your life. Hope you're having a fantastic week, guys. Enjoy your Friday. See you for Dreamtime at the G. Well done, Geelong.